So in the Pirkei Avos, in the Milas Kinyan Torah, the last one is Eimer Davar B'Shem Eimri. So the Rebbe asked, that's the highest level? That is the final crowning. That's just being honest. What is that such a big Eimer Davar B'Shem Eimri? Sign of a big Talmud Chacham. That's Kinyan Torah. So the Rebbe said, it means that when he learns Torah, he knows who the Emre is. He says a pasuk in Chumash, he's saying it b'shem Emre. Like I had the idea, the thought of writing the whole story of Bereshis in first person. Instead of Bereshis bara Elikim, say Bereshis barosi shamayim va'aretz. Make it all very personal, because it's so easy to forget who's talking. So Eimer Davar B'Shem Eimre means the whole Torah. So why is that the last one? Because without that, all the previous ones are bottle. You learn well, and you're very studious, and you're very diligent. For what? If you don't even know who's talking. So the Rebbe once said, what does it mean to learn Torah lishma? Godel Talmud shemevi l'demaisen, that's not lishma. If you're learning Torah because you want to know what the halacha is, that's not Torah lishma. That's Torah l'shem mitzvah, not Torah l'shem Torah. So what does it mean to learn Torah l'shem Torah? Just to know. The only decent explanation is learning Torah lishma means learning Torah in order to be connected to the Eibishter. Like he says, Tanya, I think, Hey kol tzama l'chul l'mayim. Why do you have to tell people who are thirsty that they should drink? People are thirsty, drink. So he explains that Hey kol tzama, if you're thirsting to get closer to the Eibishter, is l'chul l'mayim ein mayim elo Torah. If you want to get closer to the Eibishter, you have a tshuka. To get closer to the Eibishter, the way to do it is through Torah. So what does it mean to learn Torah lishma? It means to learn Torah in order to get to know the Eibishter. You could also say, it's not so much to get to know the Eibishter as you're saying his words, you're thinking his thoughts. That's closeness. But that could also, okay, so you're saying his words and you're thinking his thoughts, or you're doing his actions. So in order to do his actions, that's not lishma. So why is in order to think his thoughts is lishma? But it is a closeness.
He decided that you're closer with this, with what's going on over here. That does say in Tanya.
Who decided?
Him.
Eibishter.
Yeah.
What do you mean he decided?
Tanya says that he chose, even though essentially the question, it's a valid question, seemingly for him, actions and thoughts and learning, intellect should be the same, because one doesn't actually get closer to him. But he chose that when you learn, it's considered a deeper connection. Not an explanation of just,
So I think here's a little bit of the catch, of the trick. Learning Torah is a mitzvah.
Right.
So by learning Torah, you're doing a mitzvah. And that's not lishma. Right. Don't learn Torah for the mitzvah of learning Torah. Learn Torah for Torah itself. So of course, mitzvah is tzafsa v'chibur. So if you're learning in order to do a mitzvah, any mitzvah, including the mitzvah of limud HaTorah, then it's not lishma. The lishma is that when you're learning Torah, there ain't yichud kamehu. What was the lashon there? Nimtza, whatever. It is the greatest yichud of all. Not like the yichud of tzafsa v'chibur. Because you are surrounded by the seichel, and the seichel surrounds is surrounded by you, and that kind of a yichud, that kind of a closeness does not exist in mitzvahs, because mitzvahs are levushim, which means it surrounds you, but you don't surround it. It doesn't go into a pnimis.
How does that fit into the word lishma? What you say?
Yeah. For her sake.
Or is referring to the Shekhinah?
I don't know. It's for Torah's sake.
It's not, you're saying it's not, you learn just to learn in order to know. Or you're learning Torah because for the mitzvah of Torah. It's not lishma.
Right. It's l'shem mitzvah. L'shem yichud kudsha brichu shchinte.
So we say the same thing about mitzvahs?
That is mitzvahs.
When you count sfira, you count sfira lishma. What is that for? Well, how would you define that?
Is there such a lashon? Doing a mitzvah lishma?
Do it lishma, yeah. Don't not to be not.
It's a borrowed term. Is it really like,
about terror, yeah.
but even if it is, so lishma would mean the tzafsa v'chibur that it produces, which is better than what? It's lishma, not shaloi lishma. What would shaloi lishma be?
I think when we go Mitzvah, right, a yid who doesn't have that mindset, he does it. He buys a fancy esrog. He enjoys it. He's a part of the picture. Now, listen, if you really want to do the mitzvah just for what the mitzvah is, you'll do the mitzvah of the mitzvah. You're open to not feeling good about how the mitzvah turns out.
So there's a way of doing a mitzvah that is good, but not lishma. Now talk about sholei lishma.
Your personal enjoyment. No, is that not what it is?
That's certainly not impressive.
You're saying there's something in between.
What would be a legitimate kavanah for the mitzvah, but it's not lishma?
Maybe the story of the yid who's spent all his money on the esrog, sold his tefillin, and then because it was already aftershocks on the Erev Sukkos, he had 10 days, and his wife put off the pitim. So he said, "This is my mitzvah. I'm not allowed to get angry." Meaning, on Erev Sukkos, my mitzvah is not to get angry. I thought my mitzvah after tefillin, to take all my money, is to buy an esrog. But no, my mitzvah now is not to be angry. Then tomorrow, for one of Sukkos, then I'll maybe have an esrog. So just whatever is needed now, not.
Maybe, I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
Tzafsa v'chibur is a two-way street. So you can do the mitzvah because you want to be mechuber to the Eibishter, or you can do the mitzvah because the Eibishter wants to be mechuber to you. Which one is lishma?
The second way.
To connect yourself to the Eibush.
That's
Not to remind me.
lishma, not lishma.
Shmuel would be for it says Tanya for Avishter's sake.
Yeah.
Isn't Dir B'Dachtainim that concept? Just for Hashem. The same thing like saying lishma.
That's that incredible story, whether it's true or not, that this guy told the Rebbe when he was a little boy to take off the yarmulke. And the Rebbe said, "Matarnisht." So the man said, "The Aveda will be on me." And the Rebbe said, "What's the difference who does the Aveda?" If the purpose of a mitzvah is that I should be connected, it makes a difference. If you do it, you're connected. If I do it, I'm connected.
Right.
But if you're talking about how the Eibishter, then it doesn't, just like it doesn't make a difference who does the Aveda, it doesn't make a difference who does the mitzvah.
Right.
So, hypothetically, if you have one pair of tefillin and it can only be used once, and there are two people, who should do it?
Ki tenach hashamayim. B'midbar.
So the Rebbe would say, what's the difference? Flip a coin. I have to dafka do it. In some way, the virtue is let somebody else do it. The Eibishter,
That's
Gets the mitzvah of Havas Yisrael and the mitzvah of David.
the story with the
That's
guy.
right. So the Eibishter will get.
He asked him to leave the tefillin behind. He says, "But I'm going to miss tefillin." So Miss Nagid says, "I can't miss tefillin." Chas says, "I won't. I'll miss tefillin, but at least you'll have tefillin."
The rest of your life.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's
that's a real story.
yeah. So that way the Eibishter gets the mitzvah,
Right.
and you're a nice guy.
It's guy.
So the Eibishter doesn't miss out anything, and you're kind. Talking about this guy tells me in Lakewood he was hitchhiking after a chasana late at night. It's raining. So you got to try to. They all hitchhike in Lakewood. So he's standing there. This guy pulls up, rolls down the window, and says to him, "I would love to give you a ride, but it's not my car. And the balabos of the car may be makpid. So I don't know if I'm allowed to take you. Bye." He rolls up. Only I'm a snagit can like.
Yeah, we all have that a little bit though, deep down, a little thing in a small.
Of course, what do you think we're talking about?
Yeah, no, it's.
There's a snagit in every one of us? No. Russia maybe, not snagit. So if a chassid does that, he's simply a rotten guy.
Right.
But the horrible thing about it is the guy drove away feeling righteous.
Yeah, I didn't mind.
That's tzaddik. He leaves the guy standing there, and he's the tzaddik.
In the purple.
We start off speaking about Bal ShemTov, but it's interesting because it's the same story of the guy driving on the highway. You see two guys from the city workers are working. One guy's digging up the earth, and the other guy's putting it back in the pile. So what are you guys doing? He said, "There's supposed to be a third guy here, put the tree in the hole, but he's just not here today. But we're doing our job." So in a way, it's the dry tzavtzev v'chibur thing misses that. Oh, what do you mean? So we're doing it. We don't know.
I hope that's not the way the Vada Kol works.
It's always the last resort.
So the question really is, what is Torah? There are so many different definitions or descriptions of Torah. Starting, let's say, from the bottom. Barosi Yetzahara, Barosi Torah Tavlim. So what is Torah? Torah is the antidote to the Yetzahara. L'chayra, that's a horrible thing to say. David HaMelech called it Zmires Hayuli Chokecha, and the Eibishter was Zmires? Torah is Zmires? That's a lot better than saying it's an antidote to a Yetzirah. which would mean like, if there was no Yetzer Hara, you wouldn't need Torah. So that's got to be like the most minimal function of Torah, which is also le'nitnu hat mitzvahs elo le'tzarev behemes habriyos. That is the lowest, most basic, most furthest function of Torah and mitzvahs from their true essence. So you have Barasa Yetzer Hara, Barasa Torah Tavuk. Then you have Tikkun Olam. You give a dollar to tzedakah, you're elevating the dollar from klipa to kedusha, klipas mega to kedusha. So the Torah is like a mop to clean up the world. Also pretty minimal. Then you have Gedolei Talmud Shemevi L'Dei Ma'aseh. Torah is to tell you how to do a mitzvah. Okay, that's a lot more noble, dignified. But then there is Torah lishma, which means it's your ultimate connection to the Neisen HaTorah. So on the one hand, why doesn't it say that? In the whole description of Matan Torah, it doesn't say anything about the Eibishter being connected, except the word Anoichi is Ano Nafshi Ksavos Yahos, which according to Chassidus, we think everybody agrees with how we understand it. Ano Nafshi Ksavos Yahos is understood by the world. I'm giving you the Torah personally. Ano Nafshi. I'm not sending it to you through Moshe Rabbeinu. You're going to hear me, which is not what Chassidus says. Chassidus says, Ano nafshi, I'm giving you not I'm doing it personally. I'm giving myself to you. I'm giving you my nefesh. So on the one hand, you can say, we're not told that connection to the Eibush that comes through Torah on the highest level. Yeah, but that's a remez and a Rosh Tevis. If you just read the Chumash, you'll never know. On the other hand, it's the first word. It all begins with Anon Nafshik Sovos. So it's very prominent. Only it's prominent in Teiras HaRemez, or in Teiras HaPnimius HaTeira. So l'chera, the message is two things. First of all, if you want to understand what Torah is Anon Nafshi. This is me. Which also needs to be appreciated. Ano Nafshi. What is Ano and what is Nafshi? You could say Nafshi Ksovos Yehovos. Ano Nafshi. So there's the me and there's the nefesh of me. And both are being given. So that is the most profound and the most important aspect of Torah. And at the same time, it's Pnimius HaTorah, or Seid, it's not stated bluntly. which means that if you're going to consider the pnimis ha'inyonim, then you have to do it ba'efim pnimi. Not the chitzeni is not obvious. It has to be a true, sincere, internal experience, not something you can talk about. So, Pnimis HaTorah is the emes, and Pnimis HaTorah is Bipnimis. And I wonder, what do people think? Those who think. What do they think when they read, for example, in Ramban, that this is the Pshat, the Pashtus, but Chachmei HaEmes, which is Kabbalah, explains it like this. Chachmei HaEmes, Kabbalah is Chachmei HaEmes. And what is without Kabbalah? Not Emes?
You know,
What do people think? How do you call it emes as if the rest of Torah is not? You call Hasidus Divrei Elikim Chayim. What's the rest of Torah? The rest of Torah is not Divrei Elikim. And what does it have to do with Chayim? So obviously, every part of Torah is emes, without any question. But then there are the Chachmei HaEmes. When you put on tefillin, what you're doing is emes la'amita. But you're not a Chacham. You don't know the emes, even though you're doing it. So Chachmei HaEmes is not, the emphasis is not on emes. That Kabbalah is emes. No, Kabbalah is the Chachma of emes. Emes is emes whether you know it or not. Emes is emes whether you feel it or not. But if you're from the Chachmei emes, then you know and can feel the emes. And this is an Aveda Nilis. Who feels the emes of the mitzvah when they're doing the mitzvah? You feel holy, you feel good, you feel. What does it even feel like? I am doing emes. That is the Maila of the Anoshim Pshutim. That's all they feel. They don't feel holy. They don't feel accomplished. All they feel is, this is emes. They feel it. They experience the emes of the emes. Because emes is emes, whether you feel it or not. Okay.
How does that connect with Chachmei HaEmes?
The Chachmei HaEmes see the emes, they understand the emes, and therefore they can feel the emes. Not like the Anoshim Pshutim who feel the emes because of their pshittis. So that's the whole avodah of the Bal ShemTov, not The Bal ShemTov's message is not that the Anoshim Pshutim are great. The message is that the Talmidei Chachamim should develop the milas of the Anoshim Pshutim. Only the Alter Rebbe got it. But only the Alter Rebbe got it. All the other Talmidim said, no, you have to be a poshet. Let the tzaddik, let the Rebbe be the holy one, and you just be poshet. That's what the Bal ShemTov wanted. That everyone should be a Noshim Pshutim. That's not what he wanted. And that's not realistic. Like, for example, the Rambam paskins that telling people to not do Avedos because of the einish, because of the suffering that it will bring, or telling people to do mitzvahs because of the benefit and the brachas that it will bring, this is good for children and Amei Ha'aretz and Noshim. But as soon as they're old enough or developed enough, then you have to bring them onto the Derech HaEmes. Who is an Am Ha'aretz? You're a shliach on campus, for example, and you're talking to one of the professors. He doesn't know anything. He never opened up a Jewish book. He doesn't know Aleph Beis. Am Ha'aretz. So you should start off by telling him that there is schar ve'enish. If he does the mitzvah, he'll get benefits. If he does the aveda, he'll get punished. That can't be. An Am Ha'aretz means somebody who can't learn. But she doesn't have brains. Like in all the stories of the memoirs of the Frierdiker Rebbe, that there were boys who simply could not learn. They went to work. Come, with all the great effort, they mastered the Aleph Beis. That's an Am Ha'aretz. And that's why they're potter from Limud HaTorah. Why is Am Ha'aretz potter? On the contrary, he should work even harder to catch up. Am Ha'aretz doesn't mean someone who hasn't learned. It means someone whose learning capacity is very limited. But if you're talking to somebody who is a genius in math, this is an Am Ha'aretz. And you see from practical reality, you talk to a professor at the university and say, oh, if you do this, you're going to suffer. Nobody's impressed. So the Bal ShemTov wanted everyone to be an Ish Poshet. You can't be an Ish Poshet by faking it. So you're a genius in every other subject. Comes to Yiddishkeit, I'll just do what I have to do. I don't want to know. I don't want to understand. Don't tell me anything. It can't be that that's what the Bal ShemTov wanted. So the Rebbe asked, in a Yechidus, the Rebbe asked the Belzer Rebbe, do they learn Chassidus in his yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael? He said, yeah, at night, the Bachram learn Chassidus. So the Rebbe said, are they allowed to ask questions? He said, no. Which, of course, the Rebbe knew. Not allowed to ask questions. So the Rebbe said, isn't that a little confusing to a Bacher? During the day when he's learning Nigler, if he asks a good kasha, oh, Talmud Chochem, das Wachs, a Godel be Yisrael. If he doesn't ask an obvious question, is no, you didn't catch the question. Disappointed. Then it comes to Chassidus. If he asks a question, Shaygets. It's a little confusing, no? In other words, Are you an Ish Poshet? Or are you a Talmud Chacham? They nicht im Kopf. You can't say, Rabbi Akiva wants you to be a Talmud Chacham. The Bal ShemTov wants you to be an Ish Poshet. So when you're learning Nigla, be a Talmud Chacham. You're learning Chassidus, Teres Bal ShemTov, dumb down. We're playing games. To reach the pashtus of an Ish Poshet, the only way to do it is through Chabad. Learn until you get to the pshitus of Torah, which Anoshim Pshutim experience naturally. That's called Chochmas HaEmes. The emes is there for everybody, and it's there all the time. And that's why afilu shalei lishma is bo lishma, because emes is emes. But chachmei ha'emes, that's Teres Bal ShemTov. To be a chacham in pashtus, or to get to pashtus through chacham. What does that do? It puts you in touch with the emes, but it makes the emes pnimis. Not emes that overwhelms you. You're nothing and this is emes, so just do what you have to do. That the emes should be part of your reality. What is that very complex hayem yem? What does it say there? Emes is nish that emes should be, but that emes itself should.
Nicht,
Is that their avodah is
dat zal zijn emes. Emes alleen is een avodah. Meaning everything you do, you might have a smidge of emes, but you're not. You have to do even though it doesn't feel like you're doing the best job, and then.
Or I think, in simple words, don't do avodah be'emes. Be emes.
It's on the gavra. Doing is on the thing.
Become it. Don't do it with emes. Be the emes. Or that the Rebbe Rashab said, Ilu yodaitiv hoyisiv. Okay. So yodaitiv and hoyisiv. If I knew the Eibishter, I would be him. Good, so know him and be him. Not with a question mark. Become emes. How do you do that? If you take the emes and apnimis. Because emes, by its whatever, is makif. Because emes is emes with or without you. Emes is emes even if you deny it. So it's a makif. Bigger than you, stronger than you. But to bring that into a pnimis, that's chassidus. Just like the raya mehemna is to bring emuna into a pnimis. Emuna is a makif. But through chassidus, you bring the emuna into a pnimis. What does it mean, into a pnimis? That it becomes you. Not you're doing it, you're being it.
Can adsem and ms be used interchangeably? Adsem and ms be used interchangeably, conceptually?
I suppose in some way that. But that brings the question of what is the difference between a pnimi and an atzmi? Every chassid has to be a pnimi. A rebbe is an atzmi. What is the difference?
the Rebbe's always plugged in, or he's really the generator. He's really the source of of what we're discussing. We have for us, it's a two-step process. For the Rebbe, that's if he's existing, then the emes is there. Maybe means was from Makif to Pnimi. That's means it is. So many sound.
Go to Ben's house.
If you call somebody by his name, you can wake him out of a coma. Rabbi Feller wrote an article about the Bal ShemTov, and he said the Bal ShemTov's name was Yisro because the Yidden were in a faint. The matzav of the Yidden at the time, they were all fainted, and by calling the name, you revive them. So the Bal ShemTov was the name, Yisro. So he wrote that Bal ShemTov came along and said, you have to shout the name to the Jew and get him out of his... So the Rebbe edited the article, and he crossed out shout and wrote whisper.
It's obvious.
What's obvious? Was schreist du? Like, don't scream. No, there was. It doesn't work if you scream. It works if you whisper.
Crossed out. Negating the shouting.
Why? So why is it that your name gets that kind of a response? You can't say your name is your etzem. That's not. The reason your name wakes you up from a faint is because it gets past your conscious mind to your pnimis. Maybe if your name was your etzem, it could wake you up from the dead.
That is not a maybe.
That
is what it is.
But it doesn't work.
Your real name, not the nevuah katana of the parents. Your real name.
Okay, whatever that is.
That's
So the name reaches your pnimis. It doesn't reach your etzem. If you want to get to a pnimi, shouting is makif. What everyone in the room should hear? It's not personal. If you bend down and you whisper the name to the person, so first of all, you're addressing his pnimis, and you're doing it in an eifim pnimi. So what would be a pnimi? A person who is a pnimi? So the Rebbe, with the court case, the Rebbe said, lawyer subjects, das ist nicht mein Inyan. A Tosfos is meiner an Inyan. A Maimer is meiner an Inyan. What does that mean? It means when you say the word Tosfos, that you get the Rebbe's attention, even if he was thinking about something else, because it talks to him. That's a meiner an Inyan. You hear your name, you react. Why? Because someone is calling you. The same thing is if you're in a crowded room and somebody says Jew. It's not your name, but you hear that word, you react. Why? That's a minor inyan. Even if you're talking about another Jew, that's also minor inyan. So pnimius means I identify with that. That's my identity. It's as when you say Jew, it's as if you called me by my name. Or if you say Taisvus, not by me, but if you say Taisvus, it's talking to me. Why do you think I'm talking to you? Because you said Taisvus. And Taisvus is minor aniyah. Pnimis. If it's pnimis, the tainug that people have in learning, you hear stories about these amazing, when the Lubavitcher was in a lot of pain, in the end of his days, people would come to him with kashas on Taisvus, and then he wouldn't feel the pain. That's called pnimis. He doesn't identify with the pain as much as he identifies with the Taisvus. Somebody told me he lived in Dvinsk, and he knew the Lubavitcher. Came to Minnesota in the 80s, I think, 70s. He says when the Lubavitcher considered the Rambam his Rebbe, they had like a personal relationship. So he says when the Lubavitcher would learn the Rambam and realize why the Rambam said this word or why the Rambam paskined like this, and it, like it all became, he would say, "Ay, Rebbe, lang sollst du leben." It was so real, it was so alive. He could say the Rambam Shlita, because by him the Rambam was like, that's pnimis. Etzem would be something different. I don't know. Etzem would bring tainug, or etzem is etzem.
Hunting is already a movement of etzem. It's being expressed in a way.
So the bottom line is that Kabbalah Torah, according to Chassidus, doesn't mean you're mekabel the Sefer Torah. It means the connection to the Eibishter has just become available. Matan Torah is the Eibishter gave himself to us. You learn Torah your whole life, and you don't realize that, and you never experience that, then you weren't at Matan Torah. You missed it. So what is the bracha, or the greeting for Shavuos? Kabbalas HaTorah b'simcha b'pnimius. What does pnimius mean? The Neisen HaTorah, which is also what we talked about many times. Lifnim mishuras hadin. What is lifnim mishuras hadin? 2 mezuzahs on the door? They're just in a house in California, a Persian, decorated to the hilt. every tzatzki, you could buy a house for the price of that thing. So on one of the doors they had two mezuzahs. They said, I'll taste it if you're not allowed. No, one is empty. It's just a beautiful, a beautiful case. And they had to put it up because who knows how much that cost. Handmade, whatever.
One is empty.
You should make another door.
Buy another house for that mezuzah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, lifnim mishuras hadin doesn't mean two mezuzahs. Lifnim mishuras hadin means who is there behind the din? Before the din, what do you have? The Neisen HaTorah, the Mitzvah of the Mitzvah. Right, the Rebbe said about Neshama Shanosata Bi. So everybody knows the four madregas. Tahira, he is Atzilus, Ata Barosa is Bria, Ata Yitzat is Yitzira, Ata Nefachta Bi is Asiya. The Rebbe said, wait a minute. Neshama Shanosata Bi. What is that? It's a madrega in the neshama, before Atzilus. So there's the Nasato. Who is giving me this? The neshama is great. Yeah. Atzilus. But who is giving me this neshama? That's Lifnim Mishuras Hadin. So the Lifnim Mishuras Hadin doesn't come after you fulfill the din. Because it's lifnim, not after, it's before. Before you do your first mitzvah, you should know who is the mitzvah. So you educate a child, not you tell him all the mitzvahs, and then when he's grown up, you tell him who was the mitzvah. That's horrible. You start off with lifnim mishuras hadin. Go kaseda. First there's lifnim, then there's the thing, and then there's the outcome. So Matan Torah can be a little misleading. Moshe Rabbeinu came down off the mountain with tablets. That's what we got. We got tablets with 10 commandments. I think that's what the eagle was.
Wait, can I?
Yeah?
I want to hear about the eagle. Just 1 second. I don't think we got tablets. I think we got the Torah engraved. We got an engraving, and the physical manifestation of that was even. It's real. Look, you see, even here, it's taka engraved every single one.
Yeah, so if it's engraved in our heart, what's engraved? Leisitzach. The mitzvah.
Yeah, no, this is what could be engraved. Leisitzach can be engraved.
So I think what's an eagle? What happened over there? You hear the Eibishter speak, and 40 days later you make an eagle. Come on, makes sense. To accept the bepashtus is to make people, befrat our ancestors, sound like the lowest form of life.
So they're trying to do heaps.
So they blame it on the Erev Rav. Still, I mean, if you were there and the Erev Rav said, let's make an eagle, you would go along with it? Those who heard the Eibishter speak 40 days earlier, oh, the Erev Rav, they confused me. Come on.
All the even participated?
It's a good question, but we're all suffering from it. Right? The klippa of the Eitz Hadas was
Removed.
no, the klippa of Mitzrayim was removed, but the part of the klippa of the Egel until Mashiach comes.
Right, so it's really about
It's like
what happened at Mount David.
if you stand at Har Sinai and you hear the Eibishter speak, it's very natural, understandable, that a person would say, I have just had the most incredible experience possible. The most incredible experience possible. What did it do to me? I'm not the same person anymore.
Exactly.
Was bin ich geworden? Do I shine? Do I have a halo? Like, what? They threw the gold into a fire and an eagle came out. They said, das ist das. They experienced a fire and they looked at themselves and they said, so what came out of this fire? Oh, now I'm frum. Now I'm holy. That's the eagle. Instead of thinking, what does the Eibishter want with his mitzvahs? I stood at Har Sinai and I became something. What did I become? Throw yourself into the fire and whatever comes out. That's for you to be holy. That's the kavanah of Matan Torah. That's an eagle. That is a hard thing to avoid. So if the Yidden got caught up in that, they're not low lives, they're not brain dead. The Eibishter came and spoke to them so that they would become holy. And they're holy. And that's the whole kavanah of the whole thing. L'tzadav behemes habriyos, that's all. And what about the Eibishter? That's the Eibishter. My being holy, that's the Eibishter. Eile elikecha Yisrael. So finally, the Alter Rebbe, when he learned the Mishnah, he said, "Zog the Mishnah." You have to say that. Rabbi Tenenbaum used to teach us in Bedford. Instead of going to English, we had the Muda Kodesh the whole day. So he was the principal, but in the afternoon, he became our Melamed. He was very, very good. He was very good.
I had him too.
A talented Melamed.
Afternoon.
Yeah, a Bar Poil. The best part of it was when he got upset about something and he closed the Gemara. Famach the Gemara. Behave like that, Fashem nicht the Gemara. Famach the Gemara. And he would give us a lecture. Oh, can't call it a farbrengen, but it was. Anyway, so if a bocher started saying a Mishnah and didn't say Zog the Mishnah, never got away with it. As I learned, man, Zog the Mishnah. So the Alter Rebbe was Zog the Mishnah. Learn the Gemara. Before you start the Gemara, you say Frag the Gemara. You learn Rashi. Say Taich the Rashi. Then he would open the Shulchan Aruch. What did he say? What do you say when you open the Shulchan Aruch? Zog the Mechaber.
Not really. It's a different experience.
So this is amazing. The Alter Rebbe would open the Shulchan Aruch and then say, was will Rotzen Elyon? I learned, I understood, Kashe, Teretz, Taich, Rashi, Mefarshim, was will Rotzen Elyon? That's Matan Torah. Was will Rotzen Elyon?
If you experience it as you're going up, then there has to be a counterbalance of going down. The highest, the best thing, and then the worst thing. But if it's about him, then it's not up or down.
That's good. Yes, if what's happening is you're going up, It's going to remain about you. You're here, now you're there. It's all about you. I used to be a shegitz, now I'm a tzad.
Yeah.
Actually, I had this guy who was an alcoholic. And he went through treatment, and he's a recovered alcoholic. So he's telling me, but his spirals, the difference, how different his life is, how different he is. He used to react like this, now he reacts like this. He used to do this, now he does this. Much improved. The improvement is, and he said, all my friends, they're so impressed with how different I am. But my wife doesn't appreciate.
Wait.
As if there's something wrong with his wife. He said, there's nothing wrong with your wife. You just spoke to me for 40 minutes and you didn't stop take a breath. I this. Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
You used to do that with alcohol, now you're doing it without the alcohol. But she can't get a word in edgewise either way. So I was a shikhet. Now I'm same person, the same. So if you start off saying, "Was bin ich a shegitz?" I'm going to learn Torah, I'm going to become.
That's not Kabbalah for third.
So just last week I spoke to a woman from Lakewood who was very upset. Her daughter got married to the top bocher in Lakewood. And she is upset because he has no time for her.
Yes, no?
He has no time for her. Yeah, but he's the top bocher. Yeah. That's why we chose him.
So who's upset? The mother or the challah?
The mother. She's
Who
upset for her daughter.
Who does he have no time for? His wife or his mother?
Maybe.
Too many questions.
So I asked, what does it mean, the top bocher? How is every bocher the top bocher? And what does he do? He sits in kollel. I said, how long do you think he's going to sit in kollel? She says, hopefully for the rest of his life. I said, you're the problem. You're the problem. You want your daughter to be married to somebody who's more interested in learning than her. And now you're complaining? What is the sitting in kollel your whole life? He can become, she actually said, he can become the Gadol Hador.
It takes 70, 80 years, but it's worth the wait.
The ambition, become the Gadol Hador. Yeah, and then what does he need her for? If he's the Gadol Hador, she better kiss his feet.
Next Rabbi Akiva.
So if you become the Gadol Hador, now you're not the same person who was into himself before and paid his tithes. You're the same person.
I also feel like, I want to be off the record here, but you became a shliach. Oh, now you're good. Now you can neglect everything. You can just do for the pure purity of the Rebbe.
Velvel Green. He was a character, a real character. But he had some insights that were very, very... He says, when people ask me, am I a chassid? He started growing his beard. He's a professor at the university. He said, people ask me, am I a chassid? He said, don't ask me that. It's like asking me, am I an intellectual?
Yeah.
You can't say that about yourself. If others say it,
Right, yeah. No.
if you tell me I'm a chassid, thank you very much. But you're asking me to say if I'm a chassid.
You got it.
So, for example, you should ask somebody, are you makusha?
I was about to say that.
Yeah?
No.
Are you a makusha?
Well,
Me? Yeah.
And I read in Chabad a whole article on discussions.
Yeah.
How do you do it? The 4 steps to healthiest diet. Yeah.
Iskasha is okay. Mekusha, that language is already.
You have it in the bag already.
Because if you can be a mekusha, then you can be a big mekusha. Comes in different sizes.
Yeah.
So are you the big mekusha or the little mekusha?
Pinnacorp answered well by the thing. Okay, so I tried to be. Are you a filter? I tried to be. Yeah, that's legit.
Working on. So I make a joke. I make a joke about titles. I said, we got to stop with the titles. There are no Orthodox Jews. There are no conservative Jews. There are no Reform Jews. There are no Reconstructionist Jews. These titles got to go. Chabad, and that's it. But the truth is that we do that all the time. What was the Godel, a Talmud Chochem, a Tzaddik? Mekusha, that's all.
Right.
That's
No titles, only my title.
right. All titles got to go except this title. And it's a dangerous one, because if you are Mekusha, then everything you do is,
Kaddish v'Torah Hashienu.
don't argue with me, I'm a Mekusha.
But if you're elected by everyone and say you're the community Mekusha,
By everyone. 1,800 out of 5,000.
but a majority must